2023 has come and gone, and 2024 is right upon us. And with it, of course, means brand new games. 2023, I think, is going to be regarded as one of the best years in gaming. Can 2024 live up to the hype? And we got some awesome contenders coming up. We got Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, we got Mario vs. Donkey Kong, we got Dragon's Dogma 2, and so many more games. So today on Direct Gaming, we are here today to talk about what we are most excited for and just kind of talk about some games in general. I'm, of course, joined by the legendary LittleBobby and Lethal, and we're going to bring you our best picks and what we are super excited for in 2024 for gaming. So without further ado, LittleBobby, let me know what your thoughts are real quick. Just what are you most excited for? Just out of any game you've got right now, what are you most excited for?
It's probably a tie between Rebirth and Dragon's Dogma.
Ooh, okay, we're going Dragon's Dogma here. All right, I've seen some people a little worried about it. Super excited for it at the same time. I hope it's a banger right out the gate. I really am. Because it's coming out to both PC, Game Pass, and Xbox, if I remember correctly, right?
Oh, it's on Game Pass? Oh, dang. Might be.
I don't think it's on Game Pass. Dragon's
it's not on Game Pass?
I don't think it's on Game Pass.
I was gonna say that's a huge get. I was gonna say that's a nice get if they got that on Game Pass day one. They could though. I have no idea. I might have to look into that.
That encourages me to pick up a month from CD keys.
That would require me to get a March Game Pass.
March Game Pass.
March Game Pass. I can definitely see why people are definitely excited for that game. I mean, Rebirth, I think there's no question about it. I know Lethal's sitting there going like, yeah, Rebirth, let's go. But, Dragon's Dogma, I've definitely seen, because I think with the trailers that they've shown off sometimes, it's just like, is that really gameplay? Is that just a trailer? Like, what's going on? I mean, think about how many times we've been burned in the past with trailers and everything, right? So, but I really hope Capcom can do well with Dragon's Dogma because it definitely looks promising. I really hope they can.
Yeah, it's looking like more action version of like Baldur's Gate 3. And
that's exactly how I would put it. Yep.
I'm super down with that. Like, I love Baldur's Gate 3 because it's very old school RPG, but action RPG is kind of my shit. So I'm super down with Dragon's Dogma. Like, if they are taking that approach, I would be more than happy to sink many hours into that.
From what I remember,
from
what I remember of Dragon's Dogma, because I did play the first one, I never played Dark Arisen, which I don't know if that's like a spin-off DLC expansion or something, but I remember playing the first one, and it kind of reminded me a lot of like it's kind of like a Monster Hunter, right? Almost like a, I don't know, you had like you could climb.
It's like a mix of everything. Yeah, essentially. I remember you can climb
it's made
by Capcom. So.
Right. So I remember you can climb on like the monsters, and they can like fly, and you're stabbing the hell out of them and stuff like that. I think the big thing for me that was standing out is that I don't think the first one had multiplayer, right? So I think this is like the big thing with the second one, and maybe it was in Dark Arisen, maybe that's what I didn't play. But like I remember seeing like the multiplayer component being like, oh, that's gonna be fun with friends. But that looks like a good time. I would be down to jump into Dragon Dogma 2, just honestly for the multiplayer component.
I mean, yeah, as long as they got the connection stuff down, and yeah, I'm hopefully super excited about that as well. So because there's not a lot of co-op games, I think, that can take this particular type of game and setting and actually make the multiplayer worth it, in my opinion, right? So, because usually those kind of multiplayer modes can kind of be just kind of tacked on, essentially. But I'm hoping they can do it. I mean, they've done it with Monster Hunter, essentially, right? So let's hope that they take that kind of same foundation here and they're able to put that into this game, and it works out for the best, personally. So, I really hope so. What are your guys' personal thoughts, though? Because I've seen, okay, I know Dragon's Dogma has definitely had some ups and downs in terms of how people are receiving it, but one game I know that a lot of people have just been like, nope, not touching, is Prince of Persia. Yet whenever I see previews for it, especially in the last month, people are actually excited for it. And I'm not gonna lie, a 2D Metroidvania style Prince of Persia game, I'm kind of for it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm definitely picking it up when it releases here in January, so less than a month basically. But what are your guys' personal thoughts on this one? I'm interested to get your take.
I'll jump in first. So I actually get to play this. This was actually at PAX West, and so Ubisoft did have a booth for it, and so I had to take the opportunity to play it. And dude, it is a lot of fun. I mean, it's very fast paced. I'm trying to think of a good Metroidvania that's akin to this game, because like there are some that are a little bit more slower. There's like more of like the more Castlevania side, and then there are ones that have like a little bit more of like a faster pace to it. And if you guys ever played this game, I think it's called Fist Forged and Shadow Torch. Do you remember that one with the bunny rabbit kind of? It came out on like PS Plus.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So it's kind of, I think, more akin to that, where it's like a very more faster pace. And you can do combos and you can do all types of cool stuff. And so I'm excited for it. I mean, I'm also just a big fan of like the Metroidvania style. So that whole like subgenre, that's a big thing for me. So I'm excited to see Prince of Persia go in that direction. I honestly, man, I can't even think of the last Prince of Persia game that I played. It's not Sands of Time, because I remember they did a reboot at some point and they went like a cool like kind of style with it. I really dug it. And that was fun. But like, it's been so long, I think, since I played like a Prince of Persia game, that like I actually don't mind them like kind of like bringing back the Prince of Persia name and doing it in this kind of way.
I haven't.
So I'm down.
I haven't played a Prince of Persia game, I think, since the 2008 Prince of Persia game on the Xbox 360 and PS3. It was like way more traversal.
Yeah.
And like the combat was very simplified. You had, I think what her name was, I want to say Elena, but I know I'm probably wrong on that. The light woman. That was the last time I ever played a Prince of Persia.
I was saying
game.
he had like the face mask and everything. It looked like they were like
they kind of face mask thing
like
and held the sword like this type of thing.
Yeah. That's the one that I remember. That was like the last one that I played. I don't remember a single thing about it, but I just remember that was the last one that I played. But yeah, different.
Yeah, and I know people have a ton of the nostalgia for the original Sands of Time, that little trilogy and everything. Yeah. I don't know. I played them a couple times like back in the day, but I don't know, they didn't click with me at that time. So
I think Prince of Persia is a really great franchise, and I think that one of the problems we have like with the mainstream attitude of gaming is like, if a series goes to 3D and then it goes back to 2D, automatically it's just bad. And that's
Metroid. Hello.
Well, that and like Mario Wonder is one of the best Mario games that I've played in years, like years and years. Like 2D is cool, and I want to check out Prince of Persia. I probably will hold off for a sale only because like Suicide Squad is coming out, and I really want to check that out because like I like Rocksteady and Kevin Conroy's in that game.
And the day after, there's Last of Us, like it's crazy.
And then and Last of Us comes out too, and then which I already pre-ordered the special edition of because I'm a Last of Us like fanboy.
No way, you pre-ordered the Last of Us 2?
I know, for the second time. That's actually the third time I bought the game, I think.
Fine, you can cover that game. I'll play Prince of Persia. You play Last of Us, and then I guess you can play Suicide Squad in February.
I gotta play Suicide Squad and Rebirth and Last of Us.
Don't worry.
All in a month.
Lethal and I got Rebirth covered. Don't worry. We got
there. There needs to be some kind of like thing with February, because like the last 3 years they've almost been killing us with February, so it needs to stop.
I know. February just destroys us.
Stop. And isn't Skull and Bones coming out in February?
Yeah, and so based on some of the previews I've seen for that game, it's
are we still talking about that game?
Not looking the greatest.
I didn't know that game was still like a. Is it actually coming out now? Like that's the thing.
Yeah, it's actually coming out in February. It officially has a release date.
I'm looking at the calendar. I see it.
You were there. We were both there. It was at the Game Awards where they
was it.
They played
buddy. Yes, that was a game that probably flashed by, and I gave it no thought.
It was. I feel so bad because after like what is it, like 7 years, it was like a 20-second trailer. They were like yo ho boo, like all the stupid old pirate like goth shanty thing pops up, and then it's like releasing February,
That's
whatever,
funny.
and then it just ends, and everyone was like, like 3 people clap. It's kind of like when Iron Cane was at the Dragon Ball event, and they talked about breakers, and he was the only one who like cheered
about it,
applauded.
It's like that.
I mean, so let's look at February for a second here. I mean, you compare like January's list to February's list, it's already double the size. But you have big games like Grand Blue Fantasy, you have Persona 3 Reloaded, Suicide Squad, Helldivers 2, Banishers Ghost of the New Eden. You have Tomb Raiders 1 through 3 remastered, Played Up, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, Skull and Bones, Open Roads, Pacific Drive, Sons of the Forest, Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons remake, Star Wars Dark Forces remaster, and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Like, why February? Why is it always February? This happened last year, happened the year before that. Like
it's happened Bobby. The last 2 years. Where
it's just, I will say I'm glad that at least the DLC for Destiny got delayed, because that was originally going to release right on the same day as Rebirth, and I'm like, F that. And now I don't have to worry about that. So I can, I'll be officially off for spring break, and Rebirth gets my full attention. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, I just feel bad for anything dropping like next to Rebirth. Like, man, that's gonna be a little bit difficult. I just feel like Rebirth is going to take up like a lot of people's.
Well, Skull and Bones comes out on the 16th as of right now. Again, assuming they don't do any like last minute, delay or anything like that, because totally a week is definitely going to make a difference, right? Mario vs. Donkey Kong also releases on the exact same day. The Tomb Raider Remastered is 2 days before that. Suicide Squad is on the 2nd of February, so there's a couple of weeks in between there. And Persona 3 Persona 3 Reload and Suicide Squad both are released on the same day.
That's
so
unfortunate.
Obviously very different camps in terms of the gaming and everything, but I don't know. Well, hopefully February doesn't kill us as much this year. That's my hope, but I know it's going to anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna say too, like, not to mention like any surprise like drops could also happen, but I mean at this point,
easily.
I can't imagine.
Absolutely, 100%.
I can't imagine anybody else wants to drop anything in those first 2 months at this point.
The only thing I could see is, and this is probably my thought on the game of the year, is it's going to be between Light No Fire and Rebirth.
Light No Fire. That comes out next year?
They've been advertising it already, and they don't generally advertise things unless they are really close to coming out.
Oh man.
Yep.
If that comes out next year, that'd be insane. But I just don't feel like, I don't know, maybe we'll see.
Yeah. Well, and then a lot of people are also expecting not Helldivers, but
Hellblade.
Hellblade 2. A lot of people are super excited for that next year.
Yes.
Other games you have obviously coming out are like the Ronin. That's coming out.
Yes, that's in March, right?
Yeah, Black Myth Wukong. I think I pronounced that correctly. That Peach game, that Princess Peach Showtime game, that looks pretty fun.
Yeah, I do want to check that out because, like, I mean, it looks like a Mario game but with Peach, and that's cool. Like, looks fun.
Yep. And then she has all those different abilities and everything, which are really cool and all that. I was actually super impressed with the Ronin trailer that we saw at the Game Awards. I was just like, oh, dude, that looked pretty good, actually. Like, I'm if you know me, I love my samurai ninja style games, essentially. And I saw that, I was just like,
I was gonna say the guy who moved to Japan has a bias towards samurai Japanese stories. It's a big shock.
Shocker, right?
That's one of the things about 24 that I think is really cool is that it's already just so stacked.
Yeah.
Like with what we know is coming.
It is already stacked.
I mean, there was a couple Xbox games that I was like, aside from Hellblade I'm really excited about. Please God, don't. But aside from that, there was a couple, I think at the Game Awards, I was like, hey, hold on. Let's see what they got.
There was a couple, I think it was one's called The Last Sentinel. Like, I'm looking at my list here because I did write down a couple that I remember popping up, and like that looked fire. And like, there's a lot of games that have like they have like a release of 2024 with no actual date yet. So like that's what I'm saying. Like at some point, these could start getting release date drops, and it could be like, God knows, February, March, or something like that. It could be insane. But there's so many games that like we're hoping that's going to come out. I mean, like, I think at this point, I think I saw something for like Stellar Blade, that game that like I've been dying
Stellar Blade,
to get for a while now. I think in a recent PS blog post that just came out, like I think a couple of days ago, they were just saying that like, oh, like look forward to other titles coming in 2024, like, and then finally mentioned Stellar Blade. So like that's another one that we can look forward to dropping. Like I feel like Death Stranding 2 is coming out next year. I feel like that's gonna be the next big PlayStation game, because at this point I feel like I just feel like it's dropping next year. That's just my big thing. So that could be like another big one. There's so many games that don't even have dates yet, and you're just like just pending for that 2024 drop.
Well, I remember at the Game Awards, I mean, obviously you guys were there in person, and I was streaming it here on the channel, and dude, like, I'm not gonna lie, there were a lot of what we would call indie games, but I'm just like,
oh my God,
dude, these look amazing. Like on the level of Kena Bridge of Souls, I believe is what that game was called a couple years ago. Like,
Kena,
I was blown away. Like I can't remember the name of him for the life of me, and I'm really sorry that I can't remember it. But there's that guy who came on stage and he talked about how his father had passed away, and he inspired him.
I can't remember what it was called.
I was just like, dude,
that was a good one too.
Yes, I am 100% down with that game right there. Like, I saw the gameplay and everything. I was like, 100% sold.
Yep.
Absolutely sold. Like, So it was. I'm very, very excited for 2024. I mean, I know everyone's always talking about 2023, but I feel like with 2023, I think the reason that it was probably as stacked as it was is because a lot of stuff was unfortunately delayed from 2021 and 2022.
Yes.
Right. So that's the reason there was so much here, just due to unforeseen circumstances, unfortunately. And now everyone's thinking like, well, what's going to happen with 2024? And it's just like, there's a lot coming out. There really is. You have to look past your, the big budget AAA or quadruple A games or whatever, right? Because I know everyone's gonna be focused on 2025 whenever GTA 6 comes out.
Yeah.
You know, Monster Hunter comes out in 2025, I believe. Like, you know, you gotta look past that. There's an entire year of gaming that's coming out, and a lot of it looks good. I'm definitely excited for it.
Yeah, I agree. Like 2023, I was watching Skill Up's 2023 wrap up thing earlier today, and he put it best. He said, like, any one of the Game of the Year nominees this year, and including some of the things that were like left off, right? Like, let's say like Final Fantasy 16, stuff like that. He was like, any one of the Game of the Year nominees this year would have been like hands down by far the winners in any other year. Right.
Oh yeah.
Like this was
Absolutely.
like a, you know, what they used to call in wrestling like the slobber knocker, right? Like there were so many heavy hitting games this year just because of all the backup from 2020, 2021, 2022 that it was like an insurmountable year, right? Baldur's Gate coming out. If Tears of the Kingdom came out any other year, that would have won. Any other year than when Baldur's Gate.
And I think that also shows though that, you know, there were also surprises, right? Like I think like because Baldur's Gate had been in early access for a while,
yes,
right? So I don't think anyone, you know, there are definitely a lot of people who were not expecting it to, you know, do as well as it did. They go into their official release, aka the 1.0 release, and everyone's just like, how did you go from this to this? Like, what the heck happened? And that, I mean, anything in Baldur's Gate, the territory there, destroyed any game that came out then.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to bring it up, but Starfield, like that should have been a shoo-in during that month.
Yeah.
And Baldur's Gate came out like 2 weeks before, and it was just like,
yeah, that's just an unfortunate thing for Todd and company. Like that
was. Oh,
it
man,
was brutal,
and
then not only that, but then like a couple months later, Phantom Liberty and Cyberpunk 2.0 drops, and
So good.
dude, that just
and you see those two games, and you're like, okay, so like Bethesda, you need to update like everything about your game design philosophy by
quite a bit,
by like 10 years, and you need to do it immediately.
I mean, at least they have they have some good games coming out though, like for the Xbox side there. Like that Senua Saga one looks really good. I'm excited.
Yeah, Hellblade. I mean, Hellblade is good. The only thing that could affect Hellblade, in my opinion, is the Series S, right? Like that is literally the only thing that they can't do as grand scale stuff as they want because of the memory limitations. That would be the only thing that could affect the game. But the first game is so good that if you just do it the same way but make it bigger, then you should be fine. Like
it should be.
It should be fine. It should be a very good game. Like
it looks good.
When did the first one come out though? I don't remember when the first one came out.
2017, I think.
Okay, so it's been a while. So hopefully they haven't like drastically changed anything, or like, you know, hopefully whatever made the first game special essentially to a lot of gamers still feel that when it comes out, right? Because I think it's kind of unfortunately the same thing with Starfield, right? Where a lot of people wanted, you know, Skyrim and stuff, but in space. And a lot of that design philosophy and how they've made past games didn't really make its way over the Starfield, right? So hopefully with Hellblade 2, they don't do that. They're like, no, this is what made the first Hellblade great. I don't know. Is that the correct game? Hellblade?
Hellblade.
Yeah, Hellblade.
Yeah, okay, it is Hellblade. Yeah. So hopefully they take the exact same stuff from that game and they just, again, they improve upon it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I know people are going to hate this comparison. Do God of War 2018, the God of War Ragnarok. Take what is great and just improve upon it. You don't need to drastically change things. Anytime I see people be like, Ragnarok or, the Zelda game or anything like that, it's like, it was good, but, they didn't change it up enough. It's like, why would you change up a formula that is proven to be good?
Yeah.
And it's only the second game in that, series or trilogy or whatever it is, right?
It's like, yeah, it's funny because a lot of people say that, but like, look at Uncharted 4. Yeah. Like, that's my thing for anyone who says, oh, well, a sequel needs to change stuff. It's like, dude, no, Uncharted 4 is literally just the pinnacle of Uncharted as a franchise. Yeah. The fourth game,
took what was good and improved.
They took everything that was good every single time and improved on it little by little. And like, I know there was a lot of like weirdness about Uncharted 3, but Uncharted 4 like I feel like it's basically like universally loved by everybody. Like I don't know a single person who goes like Uncharted 4 sucks. Like
it's a very good game.
Yeah.
It's a very good game. So I mean, heck, we can even look at a game from 2023. I mean, meme on all you want with Spider-Man 2 and everything like that, but they took for the most part everything that worked in the first game and they improved upon it, right? Yes, maybe the story could have been longer. There's definitely, I think the stealth sections could be a little goofy sometimes with the AI and everything. That's totally fine. Definitely improve upon that for the third game or whatever comes next. But 2 took what was good in the first one and the Miles Morales game and improved upon it. That's all you really needed to do.
Yeah.
That is going to sell your game. That's going to.
But right? My only fear is that like I feel like, and maybe this is just me because I did play Hellblade the first one. I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember too much about it, but I don't remember it being like this overly complicated game. I felt like it was a very more like guided experience where like it wasn't anything like crazy. Like it's not a very crazy game. Like I couldn't even compare it to like a God of War. I don't even think it's in the same like sphere in terms of like gameplay and combat, like what you're doing. It felt more like an on the rails type of thing. And so like my thing is with Hellblade 2, like it feels like it's gonna just be more of the same. Like I don't know. I never thought of Hellblade as like this like crazy big Xbox title, but I kind of feel like it's become that. And I don't know if it's because of like we're just like looking for that next big thing from like, you know, from an Xbox studio. So I feel like there's like a lot of hope on this, and I'm like, dude, like I don't remember the first one being like this crazy, like everybody was talking about it. Unless I could just be me, but like I don't think it's gonna be that for Xbox, and so I kind of feel bad where I'm just like I'm excited to play it, but like I'm just not expecting it to be like anything crazy. And then even for the snippets of gameplay that we finally do get to see, because I feel like every trailer that we've gotten so far has been like a really beautiful like cinematic piece, but not really a focus on gameplay. And like I think the snippet that we did get recently, I'm like, that looks just like, you know, it doesn't look like it's anything crazy from the first one. It felt like it's the same thing, but I don't know. It'll be interesting still. It's still interesting, and I'm so excited to, you know, obviously see it.
No, and that's one of the things with Xbox right now, and that's actually really actively working against them, is that we keep hearing like, this is going to be the thing that changes for Xbox. This is it. This is it. Right? And it's like,
haven't we been hearing that for the last like 3 years?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I fell for it with Halo Infinite. Right, and I think you did too, Tallen.
That's potential.
Right?
Yeah.
And Halo Infinite's not bad. It's just not very
great
good.
Gameplay. Absolutely,
great gameplay, but there's no investment. The progression is terrible.
Oh, progression system's absolutely terrible. Loading takes forever.
Yeah, loading takes forever. Right.
God. And don't give me get it on an SSD, dude. I'm on a pretty high end gaming PC. M.2 drive, SSDs, the whole 9 yards. Don't give me that.
Yeah.
No.
And same thing like Starfield. It's like Starfield doesn't, you know, Starfield, like the loading thing. I saw somebody on Twitter go like, oh, I tried it. The loading screens aren't even that bad. And I'm like, well, we're not talking about the length of the loading screens. Because if you're on an M.2 on Starfield, that's going to load in like 2 seconds. The problem is when you load, like, if you land in, what was the main place, Lethal? Atlantis, New Atlantis, right?
Mm-hmm, I think so.
You land there and there's a cutscene, and then you get out of your ship and there's a cutscene, and then you go into a store and there's a cutscene, and then you leave the store and there's a loading screen, and then you go into like the lodge and there's a fucking loading screen, and it's just like a death by 1,000 cuts, right?
Yeah, it is.
And like it comes after them going like, well, Starfield's gonna be the thing that turns it around for Xbox, and the thing with Xbox is that they need to just keep their heads down and just make fucking good games. Like I've been saying this for you guys, like since we've been working on this channel, like 3 years almost.
You're a broken record at this point with that. Yeah. And it's absolutely true. Right. And like, I don't think like, especially it didn't help. I think Starfield as well, like after a couple of weeks of it coming out, you had Todd's interview about saying, well, it's actually pretty next gen. You just need to upgrade your PC. Like that looked pretty bad. And then you had all of the those Steam reviews that, you know, those replies to those Steam reviews. I was just like, oh, damn, that looks bad.
And it's real, like, right. Remember when Nintendo had the Wii U? That was fucking catastrophic. Like I have a Wii U. I love it. Mm-hmm. I always loved the Wii U, but it was catastrophic. That thing didn't sell at all. Like Nintendo, if Nintendo hadn't been as goddamn smart as they are with their money, they would have just closed down. But they are geniuses in that they were like, hey, we have a lot of cash, we're just gonna sit on this and make sure we have this if we need it, and they did. So what did they do? They came out with a new hardware and they buckled the fuck down, and they made one of the best Zelda games that's ever been made, and they made one of the best Mario games that's ever been made, and they released them in the same year. And when you do that, and people go, oh, holy shit, Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild. Wow.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
yeah, that's all I need to buy the thing. Right now, again, I have a PC, so I'm not going to buy an Xbox. But if like you want me on Game Pass, you just gotta make the games. Yeah, like I will happily, like I pay for the Nintendo Online, right? For the Super Nintendo and N64, the expensive one, and I may not play for PlayStation next time because I'm not playing a lot of games online, and the value of the extra and the premium and all that is going down further every month. It seems like there've been a couple good times, but yeah, like with that, it just comes down to like the IP, and they have good IP now. One of the things I said that would like get me back on Xbox's side, it's like Microsoft, give Blizzard all the money to make that Overwatch PvE mode. Like, do that, give them the time and the money that Activision wouldn't give them, and like, you will win a lot of favor with me, because that is one of the things that I really wanted, and that fucking crushed me when it wasn't there.
I think it will come down to with both 2024 and 2025, kind of bringing it back to what we're originally talking about, right? The year of 2024, where if they're hopefully smart and not just focusing on Call of Duty and the live service games, and they actually allow those, groups and developer teams and everything like that to actually work on those games, Xbox could have an amazing year for like the end of 2024 going into 2025. Luckily, PlayStation has been canceling a lot of their live service stuff, thank God, and so hopefully they have some stuff ready for that same thing. Nintendo, we're hearing that by late 2024, early 2025, the successor to the Switch is supposed to be coming out. So hopefully all three of these big brands are like, okay, let's focus up here. We got some good games that are covering us in the first half of 2024. We need to be, ready for the second half / going into 2025, essentially. So hopefully they can do all that. Because I think what's also really hurt a lot of the images at least with Xbox and PlayStation, is the whole digital front and everything about not really owning your games. And when Xbox is solely focused on Game Pass, and PlayStation had that terrible, what was it, the Discovery, like videos or movies or something like that, and it's just like, that's a bad look for you right there. So you need to reassure players they're not going to lose this stuff, and you need to work on, just focus on your games. That's what you need to do. I don't care what interview has been said. That's all interview CEO talk and everything. Focus on your games. That has throughout the last 10 to 20 years of gaming, when they buckle down and you focus on the games, guess what? That's what the consumer cares about.
Oh yeah, you know what? That does bring me up to like 2024. Like I want to know more of what PlayStation is doing, because like they have second party, and they have third party, and that's cool. But like, what is your first party doing? Because like right now you're looking like you're about to have Xbox's 2022, and
exactly
that like that shit's not gonna fly. It doesn't matter who it is.
It's not gonna fly.
Like if it's PlayStation, if it's Xbox, like if you go with your whole year not releasing a first party, there's a fucking issue.
It's sad because I'm not gonna lie. A part of me was like, what's the one game that I know first party that they're working on that could potentially coming at the end of like 2024 as like their big game? And like I was thinking it might be Wolverine, and it sucks because well, I'm sure that's not gonna be the case, or at least we don't know exactly what's gonna happen. But I thought that might be what they were trying to aim for, like their big game next year, because we don't know what the rest of their studios are working on, and I have this feeling that like they don't have anything probably like ready to go until maybe like 2025, 2026 maybe, because they do have like a lot of like of those second party deals, right, third party deals, and so what we're going to be seeing a couple of those coming out throughout next year, and so I felt like they have at least one big first party studio game that's going to drop. And so like I really was banking on Wolverine being like, just somehow hitting like that November time frame or whatever. But now it's like
that game's gonna be a while.
Yeah, now I have no idea like what's gonna be the case. So that is an interesting question for sure.
The thing that I'm worried about is that like PlayStation Studio, and this is a thing where PlayStation Studios does have the stigma of like they're the single player cinematic third person over the shoulder, right, action adventure studio, right, or developer, right, but they have those, I guess, they're live service like Fair Games, and what was the other one?
Concord wasn't Concord
It was Concord. Because Helldivers is like a second party, isn't it?
I think it's published by PlayStation.
Yeah, but it's not developed by PlayStation.
Yeah, it's not developed by them, but it's
so it's like a second party.
It's a second party, yeah.
So that's a second party game, right? And that's cool.
Yeah.
Like and Rebirth, that is a huge get as a third party, right?
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying is like it's maybe like what is it, Firewalk Studios or whatever it's called? Is that Fair Games or Concord? Are one of those going to be the game? And that's okay, because if they're good, then cool, right? It's just like,
I don't know. I think Sony's really starting to learn what a true live service game is. I mean, let's look at Naughty Dog. I mean, Naughty Dog literally came out and said what everyone wants to say about live service games, but they probably don't because they're fearful of being fired. And they're like, look, either we devote the entire studio to live service, aka what Bungie has become, or we stop it and we do the games that you guys like and we like making and everything.
Yeah, and you know, we didn't make any content on the hack and all that situation, right? But we
didn't want to cover that.
Yeah, one of the interesting things that did come out, you know, is how much these games are costing. And that is something that like we don't need to look at all the Wolverine leaks and like all the and download the game and play it on PC, because that's like, one, it's illegal, and two, it's just stupid.
Don't do
but
that.
finding out like how much these games are costing Sony to make, it's like, oh, that's information
that's a whole big discussion.
Yeah.
You know,
it makes sense why they'd want to go into the live service area, but at the same time, it's just like, that's not the way. Just announcing 12 of them, like that's just.
And you also got to think like now with Factions or Last of Us Online gone, that's one of those gone, and that's what, like 5 years of development, just gone.
That's gone.
It's just gone.
Well, I mean, the hope is that they can bring that into like the Last of Us Part 3 or whatever.
And you know what? I'm really hoping they do like salvage something. Like, do I need a battle royale Last of Us? No, I don't fucking care about that. But like, just make it Factions. Like, that's all people wanted. Factions was cool. Just make it Factions with Last of Us 2 maps, right? Like,
honestly, what they did with Ghost of Tsushima, and I'm not sure if you guys ever got a chance to play in it, but the Legends portion of it that came out.
Yes.
Oh,
dude, that was fun. And like, there is this big question of like, you know, scope, and why do we need to always make these things like ginormous? And like, I feel like me and Tallen are like, I think me and you, Tallen, we say a couple times now, like we're tired of like the open world, like the crazy massive open world things. And so like, I feel like, you know, that is a big question, and it is one of those things where like, you know, I don't know how they survey and get this data of what people want. I'm not sure how they're doing it, but like, I do feel like there are people, I don't know, in my opinion, I feel like there's enough people that will care for something small, right? Like, just do like a Factions for Part 3, right? Just bring it back, and you know, you bring back the old modes, and maybe you spruce up some things, add in the combat and gameplay from like Last of Us 2, for example, for that, and in other like titles too, whatever they want to do. I mean, like, I keep thinking we're gonna get one for I don't know if that's still in the books or not, but what was it? Oh my goodness, with Aloy for Horizon. I'm like, I think that's like another one that they're working on too. But like, I do hope there's this thing of like, you know, stop trying to make this humongous thing. I mean, I don't know. My point is like, I hope they start thinking of like doing more of these tighter multiplayer experiences, because they're fun.
Right. Well, and like you said, like when it comes to Ghost of Tsushima, and you know, let's look at the most recent one, God of War, right? Having these like add-on things that come out for a big game after you've released it gets people excited and bringing back to the game. I guarantee you, maybe it's not going to sell an extra 20,000 or 20 million copies or anything, but I guarantee you a lot of people who maybe didn't pick up God of War Ragnarok, there's a good chance they probably did after seeing the DLC or hearing good word of the DLC and everything like that, right?
Yeah.
Ghost of Tsushima obviously sold very well. And then obviously it got its, you know, immediate remaster going into the PlayStation 5, which most generations do and everything. So I feel like PlayStation needs to lean a little bit more into doing that. Yes, have a couple of live service games. I get it, the money, yada, yada. But leaning into that good faith stuff. I mean, heck, I would have paid 10 to 20 bucks for that God of War DLC, yet it was free.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, either way, that quality is good stuff right there. And if they keep doing more of that stuff, I think they're going to be okay.
Well, and the other thing that is really good about these kind of DLCs, like the Ragnarok Valhalla DLC, I think could be indicative of like a new sort of strategy, right? Because
it could be.
Think about how Sony has done their games in the past. They do the DLC, they charge you like $20, $10, whatever, right?
Right.
With that, and the fact that you can go, okay, well, hey, this is just like getting new content a year after it's been released. I don't see a reason why we can't charge full price for it. So instead of charging $40 for it, right, they can still charge $70 so because it's still got new content, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And while that may have cost them, you know, a DLC like this, especially, you know, it's not that large in scope, right? They built a couple new areas that were pretty self-contained.
Yeah.
And they kind of reused assets from a lot of stuff around the game. And I guarantee you that DLC, after everything, probably didn't cost them more than like 15 million to do.
Something like that.
I can't see how it could have cost more than that. Even, you know, they basically said they had a small team, right?
Yeah, they had a small team. They did it in like 9 months or something like that.
Right? Because
So, like,
originally they said, oh, we're not going to do DLC. They said that when the game came out. And I think if they pivot to this strategy of going, right, because this is what Nintendo does too, is going, hey, you know, our thing is still relevant because we're still giving you new content. We're not going to charge you for it, but you're going to pay full
Mario
price.
Kart 8, anybody?
Yeah,
Oh,
right?
God.
You include that in the subscription, and boom, now Mario Kart 8 has 50 million sales because you're still getting people to buy it because there's new tracks coming in a month. And they've added a bunch of tracks. Cool, like awesome.
I still stream it. I still stream it to the channel this day.
He does. So I've
like-
seen him.
Listen, Mario Kart 9 with the new Switch this year, please. That's all I ask for.
But you know what? Nintendo's actually really smart too, because if they have that backwards compatibility in the Switch 2, theoretically they can go, this game still works. It's not an old gen game, and it's updated like with new stuff to unlock the frame rate and make the visuals all pretty in 4K, add more particle effects or whatever with a patch. You could pay $60 for Mario Odyssey still.
We'll definitely see. This is definitely going to be the year of you know, quote unquote like console refreshes.
And I want to wrap. I know we have to wrap up this video and everything, but I just got to say, for either the end of 2024 or going into 2025 with whatever Switch successor comes out, Lethal, I know you're going to back me up on this. Metroid Prime 4, please, let's see something.
Honestly,
I'm begging you, please.
Just I mean, because that's gonna be direct. Like, they're gonna have a big like direct or whatever, right, to announce the Switch 2, and so they're gonna obviously showcase the next 2-3 years probably worth
Big
of
games
titles,
and everything, I
so
know.
Metroid
I
Prime
know.
4 Tallen needs to be there. And I mean, I feel like they're pushing us towards it, right, with the remaster, and there's a good chance that
they are slowly giving us the remasters, and then
there's a good chance we're gonna get another one this year. So like, I do feel like that's I am with you. I feel like it's time.
Dude, 2023
It's
had
time.
Metroid Prime Remastered. That was one of my favorite games this year. It just shows that it's just, so I'm really hoping so. So anyway, regardless though, I think we've gone on long enough in terms of what, you know, we're excited for with 2024. What we're a little worried about when it doesn't matter what company it is. Hopefully that they're able to bring this together and really push gaming forward. That's I think all of our hopes in the end.
Sure.
But we'll have to wait and see what's gonna happen. So, but I'm just gonna say this right now: Prince of Persia for January for me. Rebirth, I'm covered for the next 2 months, so we're good to go. So
Yeah.
anyway, guys, that is going to be it for this little talk about 2024. Let us know your thoughts down below in the comments when it comes to 2024. Heck, even going into 2025, whether it's games, consoles, you name it. We want to know everything down below. We'll reply as fast as we possibly can. And again, thank you so much, Bobby and Lethal, for joining me today in this video. We've been Direct Gaming. Thank you so much for joining us. Take care, everybody. We'll see you in the next one. John Ann.